Have you ever wondered why you were born on a specific day? Your date of birth is not the result of chance. God planned every detail of your life, and that includes the exact moment you came into the world. In the Bible we read, "Before I formed you in the womb I knew you," Jeremiah 1:5. This means that even before your birth, God had already written your destiny and determined the month and day in which you would be born, all with a specific purpose. Jesus taught us that every aspect of our lives has a deeper meaning. And today, let's explore together how the Bible reveals hidden truths about the month you were born. Some birthdays carry a special mission, a unique calling from God. Maybe you've already felt this, as if you were destined for something greater, something extraordinary. If it has ever crossed your mind that there is a special purpose for your life, this video is for you. Stay tuned, because each month carries a divine meaning that can transform your outlook on your own journey. Leave your date of birth in the comments and see if you identify with the biblical purpose revealed for your month. And while we watch, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content like this. It's not just curiosity, it's an invitation to better understand God's plan for you. January. Just as the first chapter of Genesis narrates the beginning of creation, January is a month deeply connected to the beginning of everything. Imagine God separating light from darkness, organizing chaos, giving life to what was once empty. January reflects this essence. It is a time to organize, create, and start something meaningful. God didn't just create the world, He did this with purpose, and those born in January carry with them this mark of divine intentionality. The month reminds us that we are not just living, but we were created to make an impact. Just as God placed order in the universe, those born in January have the ability to bring clarity and direction where there is uncertainty. The first man, Adam, is another reflection of what January symbolizes. He was molded from dust, but he carried within him the image of God, the responsibility of caring for the Garden of Eden and naming every living being. Those who enter the world in January have a similar role. They are called to lead and shape the environment around them. Adam was placed as guardian of creation, just as those born in this month are often called to be the pioneers in their family, their work, or their community. It is no coincidence that many leaders have a special connection with this period. The connection with leadership also appears in the story of the Magi, who came to Jesus on January 6th, known as Epiphany. These wise men traveled following a star, recognizing the royalty and divine purpose of Christ's birth. January dollars, therefore, carries the symbolism of the search for the extraordinary and the ability to recognize what is sacred. Just as the Magi offered gifts that represented faith, royalty, and sacrifice, those born in January have the gift of bringing value to situations and seeing possibilities where others do not. They are driven by a calling to find meaning in every journey. Another significant point is the connection with God's rest on the seventh day, after completing creation. January not only symbolizes beginnings, but also the careful planning and balance needed to sustain what is created. God teaches us, through Genesis chapter, that it is not just about doing, but about doing well, with wisdom and purpose. Those born in January have a tendency to be structured, always seeking that their actions are aligned with something bigger, something that remains. Just as creation was done in stages, each day revealing something new, January reminds us that there is time for everything and that each moment has its role. Still in Genesis, we see that God gave Adam the responsibility of naming the animals. This may seem simple, but it was a profound act of authority and creativity. Those born in January share this calling, to give names, meaning, and direction to situations. Whether at work, in the family, or in a group of friends, these people often take on the role of those who organize, create order, and inspire confidence. The power of naming is not just about labels, it's about giving identity to what was formless, just as God did at the beginning of time. Finally, the symbolism of January is reflected in the important dates that mark the month. January 1st, the beginning of the year, is a reminder that everything has a beginning and that the cycles of life are constant. The sixth, thus, with the visit of the Magi, teaches us that great journeys begin with one step, even if they are guided by something as distant as a star. These dates are invitations to reflect on the role that those born in January play, visionaries who start movements, leaders who shape what is to come. February. February is a month full of sensitivity and empathy, bringing with it biblical stories that reflect dedication, care, and the ability to harmonize opposites. One of the most striking passages is the presentation of Jesus in the temple, narrated in Luke 2:22. Mary and Joseph, faithful to Jewish laws, dedicated their firstborn to God. This act symbolizes a complete surrender, a recognition that everything we possess belongs to the Creator. Those born in February carry with them this essence of dedication and sacrifice for something greater. These people have the gift of seeing beyond themselves, acting as bridges between the divine and the human. The prophet Samuel is another figure who reflects the purpose of February. Consecrated to the Lord as a child, Samuel was dedicated by his mother, Anna, as a response to a promise made in prayer. His story reminds us that people born this month have a special connection with spirituality from an early age, even if they don't realize it. Samuel grew up to become one of Israel's greatest prophets, a mediator between God and the people. Thus, February teaches us that compassion and a sense of purpose can be cultivated from a young age. Those born in this month are called to hear the voice of God, just as Samuel heard when he was awakened at night. February the 2nd marks the purification of Mary and the presentation of Jesus in the temple, a moment full of symbolism. Simeon, a righteous and pious man, recognized Jesus as the promised Messiah. Simeon's attitude reflects the heart of people born in February. They have a special gift for seeing the truth and bringing peace to others. This month reminds us that faith guides us to see purpose, even in everyday situations. Just as Simeon patiently waited for the divine promise, those born in February are called to wait in faith and recognize blessings when they arrive. February is also a month of reconciliation. The ability to harmonize conflicts is a hallmark of those born during this period. Just as Mary and Joseph harmonized their lives by accepting God's plans, those born this month have the gift of balancing opposites and promoting peace. They are often seen as mediators in moments of tension, with an almost supernatural ability to see the side of everyone involved. This gift is not just for themselves, it is a gift that can be shared with the community, at home, at work, and in all areas of life. Samuel's example also brings a practical lesson for those born in February. Listen, not just listening to sounds, but really paying attention to what God and others have to say. Samuel replied, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." This verse reminds us that true wisdom does not come from speaking, but from listening with humility and faith. Those born in February can apply this to their lives by being more attentive to the needs of others, recognizing that sometimes the simple act of listening can be a balm for those who are suffering. February teaches us that compassion is not passivity, but an active force that transforms lives. Mary, Joseph, Simeon, and Samuel were not mere spectators of divine stories. They acted, guided by their faith and trust in God. Likewise, those born in February are called to act with their heart, but also with determination. The month challenges us to be agents of reconciliation and harmony, reflecting the light of Christ in the most difficult situations. March, symbolizing a journey of spiritual transformation and search for divine answers. March is the month of renewal and discovery. One of the great biblical milestones that connects to this period is the flood and the renewal of the earth, narrated in Genesis. After 40 days of incessant rain, Noah's Ark rested on the mountains of Ararat, and the earth began to be reborn. Those born in March carry this essence of renewal. They are people called to bring hope in times of adversity. Just as Noah saw the earth emerge from the waters, those born in this month have the gift of seeing possibilities even in seemingly dead-end situations. Another key point of March is the Annunciation to Mary, narrated in Luke 1:26. The angel Gabriel appeared to her, bringing the news that she would give birth to the Savior of the world. This moment represents the acceptance of a divine purpose, even when it seems greater than our human capacity. Those born in March carry with them a similar calling. They are challenged to say yes to missions that require courage, faith, and dedication. Just like Mary, they are chosen to bring light and transformation to those around them. March 17th, related to the renewal brought by the flood, is a reminder that cycles of destruction are followed by new beginnings. Those born in this month often experience periods of transition, but these moments are not meant to weaken them, but rather to shape them. Just as Noah had to trust God as the waters rose, those born in March learn to give their worries to the Lord, knowing that renewal comes at the right time. They have an inner strength that reflects this confidence and that helps them overcome life's challenges. Those born in March also have an exploratory energy, similar to Mary's acceptance of her role in the Annunciation. Imagine the weight of your mission, to be the mother of the Savior. She, an ordinary young woman, was called to an eternal purpose. Likewise, those born in this month often find themselves in situations that require them to take on greater responsibilities than expected. This courage to face the unknown and seek answers is a striking characteristic of March. They are like Noah, who built the ark in obedience, and like Mary, who accepted her mission in faith. The Annunciation of Mary, celebrated on March 25th, also reminds us of the importance of being attentive to divine signs. Gabriel did not appear to Mary by chance. She was spiritually prepared to hear the message. Thus, those born in March are called to maintain a constant connection with God, as it is from this intimacy that the necessary directions for their lives emerge. Mary's story is an invitation for those of this month to make themselves available to God, knowing that He does not choose the capable but empowers the chosen. March also teaches us about transformation. The flood, although devastating, was an instrument of renewal. The Annunciation, although challenging, brought the promise of salvation. Those born in this month have a unique ability to transform crises into opportunities and challenges into moments of growth. They are agents of change, bringing light to dark situations and hope where there seems to be only despair. This inner strength reflects the character of those who, like Noah and Mary, accept the divine purpose with unwavering faith. April, loaded with biblical stories that illustrate courage, overcoming, and faith. April is the month of transition and spiritual rebirth. It is impossible to think about April without remembering Easter, the central moment of the Christian faith. Jesus, at His Last Supper with the disciples, shared the bread and wine, symbolizing the sacrifice that was to come. This act shows us the importance of commitment and unshakable faith in the face of challenges. Those born in April share this resilience. They are people who face the storms of life with courage and emerge from them stronger and renewed. The crucifixion of Christ is another April milestone, an event of pain transformed into victory. Jesus endured the cross to fulfill the divine purpose, bringing redemption to the world. Those born in this month carry a similar inner strength, an ability to overcome trials and find meaning in difficulties. Just as Christ carried the cross, those born in April often encounter challenges that shape them for something greater. These challenges, however, are not an eternal burden, but a path to rebirth, just as the resurrection was the triumph over death. The resurrection of Jesus, celebrated at Easter, is the culmination of the meaning of April. This month teaches us that death, whether literal or symbolic, is never the end, but the beginning of something new. Those born in April have the gift of bringing hope and renewal to others, even in seemingly dead-end situations. They are like lighthouses in the storm, guiding others to the light. Just as Jesus appeared to the disciples after His resurrection, proving that the impossible can be overcome, those born in April have the mission to inspire faith and confidence in the divine plan. Additionally, April reflects spiritual liberation. In Exodus text, the Hebrew people were freed from slavery in Egypt, led by Moses, in one of God's most powerful acts. Those born in April share this spirit of liberation. They are people who often lead others out of oppressive situations, whether emotional, spiritual, or even physical. The Exodus story also reminds us that the journey to freedom is not easy, but it is rewarding. Just as Moses trusted God in the desert, those born this month are called to persevere with faith, even when the path seems arduous. Holy Week, which often occurs in April, is an opportunity for reflection and spiritual renewal. For those born this month, it is a reminder that the greatest victories come after the greatest challenges. Imagine Jesus entering Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, acclaimed by the crowd, and a few days later facing betrayal and sacrifice. Those born in April are people who often experience intense ups and downs, but have the strength to remain steadfast in their mission. This resilience is a direct reflection of the meaning of the month. In April, we also find the example of Peter, who, despite denying Jesus 3 times, was redeemed and became one of the pillars of the church. This teaches us that failures do not define who we are, but how we react to them. Those born in April have a unique ability to bounce back, even after mistakes or difficult moments. They are like Peter, capable of redeeming themselves, growing and leading with humility and faith. May is the month of divine beauty, harmony and stability, marked by biblical stories that celebrate the victory of faith and the connection with the Holy Spirit. One of the most significant narratives is the story of David and Goliath, recorded in 1 Samuel 17. David, a young shepherd, faced the giant Goliath with a sling, 5 stones and, above all, an unshakable faith in God. Those born in May carry this same courage. They are people called to face seemingly impossible challenges, trusting that God is by their side. Just as David defeated Goliath against all odds, those born this month have the gift of winning great battles with determination and faith. Another important milestone in May is Pentecost, the moment when the Holy Spirit descended on the apostles. This descent brought not only wisdom and courage, but also a direct connection with God, empowering them to spread the gospel. Those born in May have this special connection with the divine, a calling to bring clarity and harmony to the world around them. Just as the apostles were sent to transform lives, those born in May often find purpose in being instruments of change, guided by faith and spiritual intuition. May 5th, associated with David's victory over Goliath, reminds us that true strength is not in size or appearance, but in trust in God. Those born this month have the ability to see beyond difficulties and find solutions where others see only obstacles. Just as David did not use armor or swords, but trusted in the simplicity of his sling and his faith, those born in May are called to remember that what is essential to win is already within them. It's a lesson that, with God, even the humblest resources can become powerful tools. May also reflects harmony and stability, characteristics that can be seen in the divine organization of creation. Just as God shaped the world with order and balance, those born this month have a natural inclination to seek peace and stability in their lives and the lives of those around them. This manifests itself in practical acts, such as bringing resolution to family conflicts or creating environments that reflect love and respect. This ability to be a peacemaker is a valuable gift, especially in a world so full of chaos. Pentecost also reminds us that the Holy Spirit is the source of wisdom and courage. Those born in May have a special connection with this divine source, a sensitivity to sense when the Spirit is guiding them. This connection can manifest itself in inspired choices, words that bring comfort, or even dreams that indicate a path forward. Just as the apostles were transformed at Pentecost, those born in May have the potential to transform their natural gifts into tools to fulfill their divine purpose. Another significant example is the life of David, who, even after defeating Goliath, faced countless battles and challenges before becoming king. This teaches us that the purpose of those born in May is not always revealed immediately, but is built over time through faith and perseverance. These individuals are called to face their own Goliaths and trust that each step is part of a larger plan, even when the results are not immediate. June. June is the month of wisdom, planning and building solid foundations. Biblical stories associated with this period reveal the importance of making informed decisions and building on firm foundations. One of the most emblematic passages is the parable of the house built on the rock, narrated in Matthew 7:24-25. Jesus explains that he who hears his words and puts them into practice is like the wise man who built his house on the rock, weathering the storms. Those born in June carry this wisdom. They are people called to plan carefully and act prudently, ensuring that their choices are firm as a rock. Another significant June milestone is the birth of John the Baptist, recorded in Luke 1:57-80. John was sent to prepare the way of the Lord, an example of divine planning and purpose. Those born in June have a special connection with this mission of paving the way, whether organizing projects, leading teams, or inspiring others to move forward. Just as John the Baptist pointed the way to Jesus, those born this month have the gift of guiding others, showing the value of building lives based on truth and faith. June 24th, dedicated to the birth of John the Baptist, symbolizes the role of those who open paths. John lived humbly, but his life had an eternal impact. He teaches us that it is not necessary to be in the spotlight to fulfill a great purpose. Those born in June often work behind the scenes, but their efforts create solid foundations for others to thrive. This is reflected in your daily actions, such as supporting your family, organizing communities, or making decisions that impact future generations. The house built on the rock also reminds us of the importance of discernment. Those born in June often have the gift of seeing beyond the immediate, predicting the consequences of decisions and planning wisely. Like the prudent man in the parable, they know that building on sand may seem quicker and easier, but the results will never last. This makes them natural advisors and leaders, capable of guiding others to more solid and informed choices. The example of John the Baptist also shows us the importance of courage in being the voice that cries out in the desert. Those born in June have the potential to become pillars in their communities, not only building but defending values and principles. Just as John the Baptist exposed wrong and pointed to the Messiah, these people often feel the call to fight for justice and truth. This mission requires wisdom, but also a solid foundation of faith to withstand criticism and challenges. June also reflects the patience needed to build something lasting. Just as John the Baptist was shaped by God before taking on his mission, those born this month are called to value the preparation processes, building solid foundations, whether relationships, careers, or projects, takes time and care. They have the gift of recognizing that each step of the journey is important and that small actions today have the power to significantly impact the future. July, loaded with divine and spiritual symbolism. July is a month of introspection and seeking grace. The number 7 now, which is frequently repeated in the Bible, reflects perfection and completeness, a striking characteristic of this period. In Genesis, God rested on the 7th day after creating the world, an act that not only symbolized the completion of the work, but also the sanctity of rest. Those born in July carry with them this essence of balance. They are people called to find fulfillment, both at work and at rest. They have the ability to harmonize action and reflection, living in a way aligned with the divine purpose. Another notable point of the month of July is in the Apocalypse, where the 7 churches and the 7 lampstands symbolize the entirety of God's plan for humanity. Those born in this month are often spiritual seekers, with a natural inclination to understand the mysteries of faith. Just as churches were called to live in communion with God, those born in July feel a deep desire for spiritual connection, seeking answers to life's deepest questions. July 7th, which reflects divine perfection, reminds us that achieving fulfillment is not about doing more, but about being more. Just as God rested and sanctified the 7th day, those born in this month are called to honor the balance between work and contemplation. This can be seen in their practical lives, where they tend to be people who prioritize moments of reflection, prayer, and rest to renew their strength. This month teaches us that true progress comes when we balance action with introspection. Another significant event associated with July is the Feast of St. Thomas, celebrated on July 3rd. Thomas, known for his doubt, was transformed by faith when he touched Jesus' wounds. This story teaches us that doubt is not an enemy of faith, but part of its journey. Those born in July often question and reflect deeply before believing, but when they reach conviction, their faith becomes unshakable. They are people who value truth above all else, seeking not just answers, but a real, transformative connection with God. God's rest on the 7th day also reminds us that introspection is an act of faith. Those born in July are often guides to others in this regard, helping them find meaning and clarity amid the chaos. They have a spiritual sensitivity that makes them natural counselors, capable of offering perspectives that illuminate paths. Just as the 7th day was blessed and sanctified, those born in this month have the gift of transforming environments and relationships through their serene and reflective presence. The symbolism of the 7 churches in Revelation reinforces the call for those born in July to seek spiritual perfection. Just as each church had a specific purpose and challenge, each individual born this month is called to discover and fulfill their role in the divine plan. This calling is not about achieving human perfection, but about living according to the purpose that God has placed in their hearts. They are spiritual visionaries, with a deep desire to bring fulfillment to their lives and the lives of those around them. August. August is the month of balance, reflection and action guided by faith. The Transfiguration of Jesus, narrated in Matthew 17:1-8, is one of the most striking biblical stories associated with this period. Jesus took Peter, James and John to the top of a mountain where his divine glory was revealed. This moment of revelation teaches us that those born in August have the unique ability to balance their spirituality with practical actions. Just as the disciples witnessed the Transfiguration and were called to come down from the mountain to continue their mission, those born this month are challenged to seek divine revelations, but also to apply them in the real world. August 6th, which celebrates the Transfiguration, reflects the need to find clarity amidst life's uncertainties. Jesus shone like the sun, and his face brought light to the disciples, understanding. Likewise, those born in August have the gift of illuminating complex situations, bringing balance and direction. They are often leaders or guides in their circles, with the ability to unite faith and reason. This balance makes them people of positive influence, capable of deeply impacting those around them. The story of the Assumption of Mary, celebrated on August 15th, is also linked to this month. Mary was elevated to heaven, showing the reward of a life lived in total surrender to God's will. Those born in August are called to live with this same dedication, keeping faith as a guide for their actions. Just as Mary was exalted for her humility and obedience, those born this month have the opportunity to experience a fulfilling life when they put their actions in service of a greater purpose. They are reminded that true spiritual elevation comes through balancing devotion and practice. August also teaches us the importance of spiritual vision. Just as the disciples saw Moses and Elijah alongside Jesus during the Transfiguration, those born this month are called to seek deeper connections with the spiritual world. This quest is not just about prayer, but about actions that reflect faith. August, people often have a visionary eye, seeing the potential of things before others realize it. This gift allows them to lead with intuition and wisdom, balancing their feet on the ground and their eyes on the sky. The Transfiguration of Jesus also brings a practical lesson for those born in August: the importance of moments of solitude and reflection. Before Jesus revealed his glory, he went away with the disciples to pray. Therefore, those born in August must take time to connect with God and seek clarity in their decisions. These moments of introspection strengthen faith and prepare the ground for decisive and successful actions. They are a reminder that balance begins within yourself. The example of Mary in the Assumption reinforces the need for humility and service. Although elevated to heaven, Mary was an ordinary woman who lived with extraordinary dedication. Those born in August are called to cultivate this same spirit of humility, recognizing that their influence comes not only from their abilities, but from their willingness to serve others. Just like Maria, they are people who bring stability and balance to their communities through their actions. September, a month of planning, organization, and clarity, reflecting the divine order present since the creation of the world. This is the month of September. In Genesis, God established a clear and organized pattern when creating the heavens and the earth. Each stage had its moment, and everything was done with purpose. Those born in September carry this mark. They are people inclined to seek order and create structures that reflect harmony. Just as God placed limits between light and darkness, between land and sea, those born in this month have the ability to separate the essential from the superfluous, bringing clarity to situations. Another important September milestone is the celebration of the archangels Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael on the 29th. Each of these messengers of God played a unique role, but they all contributed to fulfilling the divine plan. Miguel, the protector, Gabriel, the bringer of good news, and Raphael, the curator, teach us that those born in September have the mission of being an instrument of order and clarity. They often excel as leaders, counselors, or caregivers, guiding others with wisdom and purpose. The orderly creation of the world in Genesis reflects the ability of those born in September to plan and execute efficiently. Just as God looked at his creation and saw that it was good, these people have a special gift for seeing the potential and beauty in things, even before they take shape. This can be seen in their professional lives, where they tend to excel in careers that require organization, or in their personal lives, where they often play the role of stabilizers in times of crisis. The archangels give us practical examples of how to apply this gift of organization. Gabriel, who announced the birth of Jesus to Mary, reminds us of the importance of clear, intentional messages. Similarly, those born in September should take care of the words they choose and the messages it conveys, recognizing that their communication has the power to inspire and transform. Raphael, as the curator, teaches us the importance of bringing balance to situations, helping others find peace in the midst of adversity. Miguel's mission, the defender, reflects another important aspect of this month: the need to protect what is right. Those born in September often feel the call to be a guardian of principles and values, whether in their family, in their workplace, or in their community. They have a keen sense of justice and a desire to ensure that everything works fairly and harmoniously. This role requires wisdom, but also courage, characteristics that mark those born this month. The Archangels Festival at the end of the month also symbolizes the closure of a purpose cycle. Just as September organizes and structures the way for the rest of the year, those born during this period have the ability to end cycles significantly, ensuring that what was built remains solid. This month teaches us that the organization is not just about order, but about building something that lasts, something that reflects divine values and purposes. October. October is a month of transition and spiritual renewal, marked by biblical stories that extol humility, service, and love for creation. One of the most emblematic figures of this period is Saint Francis of Assisi, celebrated on October 4th. Francis is known for his deep connection with God and with all creatures, living in total simplicity and service. Those born in October are called to reflect this essence of care and humility, acting as servants of something greater. Just as Francis saw the presence of God in everything, those born this month have the gift of bringing light to the little things, remembering that greatness is often in detail. Another biblical milestone related to October is in the Apocalypse, which describes the multitude before the throne of God. This scenario reminds us that everyone, regardless of their positions, are equal to the Creator. October invites the born this month to live with humility and gratitude, recognizing that the true value is to serve others. They have a special ability to create authentic connections, where love and respect prevail. The story of Saint Francis is a practical example of how those born in October can live their purposes. He renounced wealth to embrace a life of simplicity and service, showing that true power is in the renunciation of the ego. Those who are born this month often feel the call to help the needy, whether friends, family, or even strangers, whether through acts of generosity or simply listening to someone with empathy. They find the purpose of taking care of others. Revelation also reminds us of the importance of worship and collective service. Born in October have the gift of uniting people around a common purpose, either in community projects or times of spiritual reflection. Just as the multitude in Revelation worshipped God with one voice, these people have the ability to inspire others to work together, promoting unity and harmony. This is a powerful call, which requires both vision and humility. The Feast of San Francisco highlights another important aspect of October, the care of creation. Just as Francis saw nature as a reflection of the glory of God, those born this month are called to protect and value the world around them. This can mean from simple actions such as reducing waste, to larger initiatives such as engaging in environmental causes or social projects. This care is not just an act of kindness, but an expression of gratitude for the divine work. October is also a month of transition, which prepares the heart for the closing of the year. Just as San Francisco has undergone a spiritual transformation that impacted generations, those born this month often experience periods of renewal in their lives. They are called to leave behind what no longer serves and to embrace new journeys with faith and determination. This transition process requires courage, but it is essential for spiritual and emotional growth. November. The month of November. being the penultimate month of the year, is a month of intuition, discernment, and closing of cycles, deeply connected to biblical truths about confidence in God and preparation for what is to come. One of the most emblematic passages associated with this period is in the book of Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rest on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. This wisdom reflects the spirit of those born in November, people who have a keen sensitivity to hear the divine voice and make discernment decisions. Just as Proverbs teaches to depend on God, those born this month have a call to rely more on spiritual intuition than in mere appearances. Another significant milestone in November is the Day of All Saints, celebrated on November 1st. This day reminds us of the communion of saints, a living connection between heaven and earth. Those born this month have a special bond with eternity, often feeling that their mission goes beyond what the eyes can see. Just as the saints were called to live extraordinarily amid the ordinary, those born in November carry the gift of inspiring others through a life that reflects faith, courage, and dedication. The end of the liturgical year, which takes place in November, marks a transition to Advent, the period of preparation for the coming of Christ. This transition symbolizes the closure of cycles and the preparation for new beginnings. Those born in November are called to be a guide in times of change, helping others understand that every purpose brings with it the promise of a new beginning. Just as liturgical times point to God's plan, those born this month have an intuitive view that allows them to anticipate what is to come and help others navigate for difficult transitions. The celebration of All Saints also reminds us of the call to holiness. This does not mean perfection, but a life lived in alignment with God's purposes. Those born in November often have a sharp sense of purpose, guided by a spiritual intuition that directs them in times of uncertainty. They are people who can see the larger picture, even when others are focused on immediate details, and use this gift to bring hope and direction to those around. November also reflects the theme of discernment, essential to understand what is eternal and what is transient. Just as the liturgical year invites us to reflect on what really matters, those born this month have the gift of identifying what is a priority and what can be left behind. This ability to discern is especially valuable in times of chaos and change, where wise decisions can turn complex situations into opportunities for growth and renewal. All Saints' Day and the end of the liturgical year invite us to a deep delivery. Just as the saints lived by trusting in God, those born in November are called to lead with faith and trust what they cannot control. This confidence is not a weakness, but a force that drives them to move on. Even when the paths seem uncertain, they have the gift of inspiring others to trust too, remembering that God is always in control. December. Being the last of the 12 months of the year, December is light, redemption, and generosity, deeply marked by the birth of Jesus Christ, the central event of the Christian faith. The story of Christ's birth, narrated in Luke 2, symbolizes the fulfillment of divine promises and the arrival of hope to the world. Who is born in December carries with them the essence of this light. They are people called to be headlights of hope, especially in times of darkness. Just as pastors were guided to the stable by the angelic message, those born this month have the gift of attracting others to the truth and to divine love. Isaiah 9:6 proclaims, "A boy was born to us, a son has given us." This promise reflects the mission of those born in December to bring joy and renewal to those around them. Just as the birth of Jesus brought light to the world, those who share this month carry a special glow, a natural generosity that makes them dear to all. December, with its aura of festivity and gratitude, is a reminder that life is a gift that must be celebrated and shared. December 25th, Christmas, is more than one date. It is a symbol of God's unconditional love for its creation. The humility of Jesus, who was born in a stable, teaches us that true greatness comes from simplicity and service. Those born this month often have a special connection with this humility, acting with a spirit of generosity and selflessness. They are called to bring comfort and joy to others, even in the simplest situations, reflecting the love of Christ in each action. December is also a month of promise and renewal. Just as the wizards followed the star to Balaam, those born this month have a clear view of their purposes, and are guided by a faith that keeps them firm, even in the face of challenges. The meeting of the wizards with the baby Jesus reflects the ability of the born in December to recognize what is truly valuable. They are called to seek not material treasures, but spiritual, sharing their wisdom with those around them. Another remarkable aspect of December is its emphasis on generosity. The example of the wizards who brought gold, incense, and myrrh teaches us that giving is an expression of love and worship. Those born this month have a naturally generous spirit, whether in actions, words, or care for others. They are able to turn small gestures into great impacts, creating an environment where everyone feels valued and welcomed. December also invites us to reflect on the light we carry. Just as Jesus was the light that shone in darkness, those born this month have the call to bring hope where there is despair, joy where there is sadness. They are reminded that every small act of kindness has the power to illuminate hearts and transform lives. This call is not a simple task, but it is a divine mission that reflects December's purpose as a month of redemption. Did you see how each month of your birth carries a deep meaning, a divine call directly linked to your life? Now it's time to act. Knowing about the purpose is not enough. You need to embrace what you have learned and start applying it today. Ask yourself, how can I live according to the purpose God planned for me? What changes do I need to align my life with what was revealed? The answer is in your hands. Start small. Reserve moments of prayer and reflection to understand how these truths fit your life. Read Bible stories connected to your month of birth and allow them to guide their daily decisions. Most importantly, share this knowledge with those who need direction. Perhaps you are God's instrument to awaken someone. And now I want to challenge you. Are you living for the purpose that God has put in your heart? You feel you can do more. Don't wait. Leave in the comments how this resonated with you and what will be your next step. I want to hear from you and continue this journey together. Finally, subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. Thus, you do not lose any content that can transform your vision and approach the purpose God has for your life. Together we can discover and live this extraordinary mission